What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus Ally X gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna have a look at Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. Now, I tried it out on the Steam Deck already, but it was a complete shit show. I even tried FSR. I was gonna use the in-game FSR, then I realized it was 1.0, so I was like, oh shit. Well, then I'll just use the Steam Deck's built-in, which I think is some hodgepodge of like 1.0 and 2.0, and I don't really remember what they said, but who knows, maybe I got updated in the background, now it's 2.0, but I figured it'd be better than what the game was using. But then as I showed you, it dropped down into the teens, so I think this is just like a CPU bottlenecked game. That's the only thing that tells me. Otherwise, why would it have dropped frames? If it was GPU limited, we would have gained some frames, but since we lost frames, that only tells me either the game is broken or it's CPU bottlenecked. So I guess we'll see how it does on here, because this thing's CPU is actually even a little bit more powerful than my Asus G15 Advantage, believe it or not. At least in single core. I think the multi-core is relatively similar, but single core, this thing poops on it. I think this thing gets like right around 2,000. I think my other one gets like right around 1,500 or something like that. So don't know what that equates to in actual performance, but that's just a silly Geekbench, benchmark, and who knows how well that even works. But anyway, didn't work good on the Steam Deck, but this thing does have a more powerful CPU, so hopefully it will do a little bit better. And obviously the GPU is a little better too, or quite a bit better. But let's stop wasting time. Let's get it hooked up to the capture computer, and who knows, maybe it'll crash a bunch like it did on Final Fantasy 16. Who knows? Hopefully not. Let's find out.
So let's try 1080p like we usually do on this thing. It's probably gonna run like absolute garbage, but hopefully it can at least match the Steam Deck. I guess we will see. Alright, why don't we get ourselves into the game? Here we are in the game, and yeah, it pretty much does match what the Steam Deck was getting at higher settings and resolution. Not surprising though, this thing is way faster than the Steam Deck. At least, because now it can stretch its legs and still get pretty decent battery life. You don't have to like limit it to 15 watts, but if you do, then you can get even better battery life. But at that point, then it still isn't that much better than the Steam Deck. That's why I like just having it be at 25, 30 watts. It'll be 30 for a little bit, but then it'll, after a little bit of play, it'll slow down to 25. Alright, well let's do this little tutorial, and then I think we'll move on to the next resolution. So, there we go. Let's go ahead and move along. We shall now try a little 900p at medium settings, just to see how that does. Hopefully it will do quite well. And here's the rest of the settings. And now, let's get ourselves into the game. Here we go, 900p. And still can't quite stay above 30 in this little area, so I figured, well, that probably ain't going to do what right in the rest of the game, so I figured the only hope was 720p. And even that probably won't get you a constant 30 everywhere. But that's your best bet. And I mean, if you don't care about the game looking like garbage, you could turn on FSR, but if it's anything like on the Steam Deck, it's just going to make it run worse. Who knows? Maybe that was just something with the Steam Deck's FSR, because I didn't use the Steam Deck's 1.0. I used whatever the Steam Deck's FSR is. And maybe that's broken or something. Who knows? Alright, we have defeated the goblin. Oh, I messed that part up. Alright, get over here, you. Alright, we got it that time. Now we have to defeat Goblin. And with that, let's move on. Here is 720p settings now. And this is the only thing we have is even close to being over 30 everywhere. And that's barely stays at 30 here. I think it drops down to 34 at some point, just here. So I have to imagine there's way harder to run places than here in the game. I mean, I think I've been to a couple already. But anyway, let's go see anyhow how it runs. Here we go. At times we can get almost 40, so that's not bad. But then there's other times it drops all the way down to like 34. I think even once 32. I could be wrong about that. Maybe that was the fire bat that did that. But we shall watch and see. Come on, attack. There we go. Now we can test these instant abilities. Oh, helps if I actually lock on to him. Oops. Hit the wrong button again. There we go. Well, there we go. And I'd say this is a good time for us to go move on to a little camera.
So now, just for a little bit of camera recorded gameplay here, because I wanted to stay in this little tutorial area for that little Firebat mini PC I got. And then we'll get the heck out of this tutorial after that. I think all the rest of the computers will probably be able to play this game at pretty decent FPS, but I just have a feeling that after we get out of this area, since we still drop down to like 35 FPS at times, in this big field of grass that's got nothing going on, once you get into big fights in, you know, more graphically intensive areas, that it's just going to have issues. But at least in here it's getting playable FPS, but I still don't think that's saying much, since there's not much going on. Although who knows? Maybe this, for whatever reason, is harder to run, and then everywhere else is like really easy. Oops. Yeah, down to 34 FPS. Yeah, I don't think we'd stay above 30 FPS at all times in this game, even on this thing. So this game is just hard to run. Even though, in all honesty, so far it doesn't really look that impressive. But it might just be one of those games that, even though it doesn't look impressive, that's just the way it is.
we got him. Damn it. Oh yeah, you gotta lock off onto him. But yeah, I think that's pretty much that. It's going to be a really short video, but just like the Steam Deck, I just don't think this thing's going to get very playable FPS out of this area. It's just some grass, and we're barely staying 5-6 FPS away from being under 30. And that's my minimum. I don't know if anybody else cares about dropping under 30, but I feel like most people don't really like dropping under 30. So, yeah, wish I could have got my normal 5-6 minutes of gameplay here, but like I said, I want to let this game stay where it is for the Firebat Mini PC. And then when we get to that small form factor PC I built, we'll try to get out of this silly tutorial here. I think everything else should be able to handle this game after that. Maybe not at 60 plus, like the Asus G50 Advantage might struggle. Hell, everything might struggle. We will see, but let's go wrap this up.
Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, and it still did not really do that great even on this Ally X, which is quite a bit more powerful than the Steam Deck. I didn't get out of the tutorial area, because once I saw the FPS even on low at 720p, I was like, man, we're hitting 35 FPS, 34 FPS even at some points. I just don't see us staying over 30 once we get out of this small little, tiny little area that's just grass and nothing much else. I mean, who knows? Maybe I could be wrong, and maybe that's the hardest place to run in the entire game, and then everywhere else would be like 40 to 50 FPS. But I don't know. Something just told me I doubt that. But I guess we'll find that out once we get out of the tutorial area. But I still want to try out that tutorial area with that Firebat Mini PC, seeing as I was probably going to get like 15 FPS at 1080p and like maybe 22 at 900p, and it still probably won't be able to hit 30 either. And then after that, I think the small form factor PC should be able to handle getting over 30 FPS. Who knows? Maybe not at native 4K. Might have to use DLSS or something. We shall see. But that's for another video. It's time for us to wrap this video up so I can get started on all those though. So hope you guys enjoyed this video though, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.